So in this video, I want to talk about working with an artist. If you're like me, you're primarily a writer, not really an artist, even though I'm tried to be in for like one project. But if you're really serious about trying to get people to buy your book, you want an artist who's really good, who will draw attention to your book when people see it and they say, wow, this is some good art, so let me get this book. Fortunately, there's a lot of places that you can find an artist. Here, this is Mark Millar's website. He has a forum. This subforum is called Creative Central. People come on here, artists will come on here, writers will come on here. The artists will post some samples. Writers can post like advertisers looking for artists. The Ashcan anthology I just did, the 4 artists working on that, all of them I found from this website. So this is a pretty good site for finding people. Also, CBR has a forum for Creator Showcase, and then Seeking Talent. You can post ads here, you find people here. I'm not sure if I ever found anyone from this website, but this other one is called Pencil Jack. I found the artist who worked on 6/8. I found from an ad that I posted here. This website is called Freelanced. I found Dave, who's working on Neotheric, from this website, and this is pretty good because you can actually search through the different artists and you can narrow it down to the type of work, like sequential work, as opposed to just people that do like pinups and things. And that's one of the big things. If you're looking for an artist, you need to make sure that the artist really knows how to do sequentials, because not all of them do. Some of them are they're really great for doing pinups, but that doesn't help when you're trying to actually do a book. So when you're looking through this, or looking through anything, anybody's samples, you need to make sure that they have some sequentials that you can take a look at to see how competent they are, because I've seen some things where people just not very good. So once you find an artist, I think it's really important that you have a contract. I know some people just say that they just want to do like a handshake sort of agreement and just have it at that, not very formal. But I think if you're really getting into this seriously, you should have a contract to spell out exactly what each person is supposed to do, how you're supposed to get paid, when it's supposed to be done, laying out all of the rights, everything. Because I mean, you can even see like people with Todd McFarlane had an issue with Neil Gaiman. I think there was Robert Kirkman had an issue with the first artist that was on Walking Dead. So I just think that it's prudent to have a contract. This is a contract that I made up. I cobbled it together from a bunch of different sources I had found on the internet, and then I refined it over time with the different projects to fit just what I think is really necessary. Not too long, it's only 4 pages. And this is actually on my Patreon page. You can download, here's a doc, so you could download it and then make whatever adjustments you wanted. But of course I'm not a lawyer, so use this at your own risk. But it's pretty basic. It's you just describe who the people are working on, what is the project. It's a work for hire contract. That means that I own I'm the creator of the project. I own 100% of the rights to the project. I'm hiring an artist to do the artwork. We're not sharing any of the ownership of the intellectual property. And so that's what this contract is for. If you had some situation where, you know, you're sharing the copyright, then this would obviously wouldn't work. But so far in the situations I've been doing, it's just I've come up with the idea. Everything's fleshed out. I just need an artist to actually put it down on paper better than what I can do, and you know, to add their own style, their own flair, all of that stuff. So in here you see it, write down exactly what it is they're supposed to do. I put in this thing about having what the resolution should be, because you never know, some artists may not know exactly what you need, the minimum that you need, and if you don't get the minimum, you can't even submit it to like Comixology and things like that. So I have what you're gonna pay. The way that I always do it is I pay 50% up front, and then after everything's done, then I pay the remainder. And I make it very clear what the deadline is. I talk to the artist. I say, like, look, you know, if you need more time, just let me know, but we need to have a deadline. I don't want this thing to go on forever. So we need to come up with whatever it is. You know, if you think it would take you a month, 2 months, whatever, we'll just put it in the contract. But whatever it is, whatever we agree to, we need to stick to it, because otherwise, you know, people will take advantage of you. And because I can tell you, when I was doing the pitch for Neotheric, the first artist that I met to do didn't meet him, I just got in contact with him to do the character designs. The very first thing was doing the character designs. So I talked with this guy, and he seemed very much into the project. He's saying he was very professional, and he was going to get it done. Everything's okay, everything's great. So I paid him the 50%. We had the contract. I paid him the 50%. And then I waited, and he never contacted me about anything. And so I waited about a month, and then I wrote an email to him and said, what's going on? And he didn't have anything, not one thing to show me. So I had to go to PayPal and say, hey, look, I want my money back. I'll file a complaint. This guy's not doing what he agreed to do, and I don't really understand that. I don't know why somebody would, go through that. Say, hey, I'm an artist, I can do this, that, yeah, let's do this, and then not do anything. That makes no sense to me. But eventually I got my money back, so that wasn't a problem. But then the next guy I met, he's from Greece, and his before we even signed a contract, he was starting to do little sketches of the different characters. And I told him he shouldn't do that. He should stop. I didn't want him to do that. Just wait until we have the contract. And then when we got down to the contract, like I said, the normal way to do it is to pay a down payment first, and then he does the work, and then I pay him the rest when he gives me the final pages. But this guy didn't want to do it like that. He wanted everything up front. And I said, well, I can't do that, because I've never worked with you before. I don't know if you're just going to take my money and run. And this is a pretty standard way of doing business. not only in the comic book business, but I mean, a lot of different industries. You know, somebody work on your house, you don't just give them the whole thing all up front. But he didn't want to do that, so broke off with him. And then finally, I met Dave, and then that's been really good so far. So you really need to be careful about hiring an artist. Just trying to make sure all your ducks are in a row, and then you present yourself as professional. That the artist, like I said, is they know how to do sequentials. Maybe they've done things before. They know how to work on a schedule, and they meet, their deadlines. Because you're just waiting for stuff. It's not good when you're trying to get something out. You're trying to make people aware of it. You're trying to build awareness, trying to build like a fan base and things. It needs to come out in some kind of timely manner. Maybe you can't do it every single month, a whole book in 1 month, but maybe in a couple months, 4 months, 6 months, something. Taking years and years to do something is not ideal. So anyway, so once you have the contract and then you're working with the artist, the other thing is how to actually work on a day-to-day basis with the artist. Because I can tell you, in the first project I'll show you here that I worked at is the 6/8 book. And the reason why I'm showing this is the first page, and here on the right here, this was what he first gave me when he came back with it. And if you can see the difference on this panel, and then over here, this is the revised version. This panel, this panel, and then this panel here. This difference is kind of subtle. Maybe it doesn't look like a big deal, but to me it was a big deal, because in this first version, it looks like they're looking away, so they look angry or they're ashamed, and that's not what the point of this moment was supposed to be. What it was supposed to be is that they're looking, this is supposed to be this cop's point of view, and what it's supposed to show is that they're scared. Something bad has happened and they're not sure what it is, and they're kind of looking for reassurance. So if you look at it like this over here, that doesn't really convey that. It looks like they're ashamed and angry, and it just doesn't look right. It goes against what it was supposed to be. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because this is the first project I work with an artist, and I realized that I was kind of nitpicking with this guy, and I know he didn't like it. He said so outright, that he didn't appreciate it, and that I should basically trust him to do whatever. So there's like a fine line when you're working with an artist. To me, I said, dude, you gotta change this, because it's just not right. But I can see, looking back on it, when I was working with him on this project, that I was kind of micromanaging things too much, and it wasn't good. So the more projects that I've worked on, I've kind of let the artist just do whatever. I give them the script, and as long as it's not egregiously different from what is in the script, I just let it go. Here's another example. This is a page from the Ashcan anthology. This story is called The Blessed, and here, what it was supposed to be, you see in this first panel, the they're really close. These soldiers are really close to these tanks, and this is not what I had written in the script, and to me it doesn't quite make sense that they would be this close. It was supposed to be a further shot away. They would probably be maybe like 50 yards, 100 yards away from the tanks when they would come out of the tree line. Also, there was only supposed to be one guy that had this shield. You see, he drew in several other people. There was just supposed to be basically like this one platoon, and that this guy was the only guy that had the shield. So these little things, if this had been like my first project, I probably would have told him, hey, you need to change this. This is not right. But when I was at this point, I was just like, okay, just let it go. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think that it's bad or anything. It's just this wasn't exactly what I had written and what I had imagined. So, you know, it is what it is. So I just let it go. So these are the kind of things when you work with an artist, gotta know, when to nitpick and when to just let things go. Yeah, so you see, this was his original sketches, rough sketches that he sent me, and then I should have noticed this at this point and said, oh hey, they're like way too close, but I don't know why I didn't say anything. But you see here, I didn't see that there were other people that had the shield. So obviously I couldn't say anything about that. I would say, hey, this guy's the only guy who's supposed to have the shield. But anyway, so the point is just working with an artist, you just gotta know. You just gotta kind of be careful, because sometimes these artists are really sensitive, and you've got to just be pretty tactful about how you talk to them, and just being more cooperative about sharing and saying like, okay, this isn't what I had in mind, but you're the artist, so okay, just let it go. And yeah, so I maybe the next video, I think I'll talk about the actually writing of the script. So we'll end this one, and like I said, I have Patreon. If you'd be willing to support what I'm doing here, that would be really great, because right now I just have one patron, so that's not good. Yeah, so anyway, that's about it.